There was something so comforting about falling asleep at your grandparents' house. Quilts spread across the floor for all the cousins, VHS movies playing softly in the background while everyone slowly drifted off to sleep. Life just felt different, slower, softer somehow. And lately, I can't stop thinking about that. If you're new here, I'm Leah, and on this channel, we talk a lot about slowing down and living a life that is intentional and centered around Christ. And as you can tell, I have caught a cold. We were up in Oklahoma once again because my sweet nephew was graduating from high school, our first nephew to graduate, and it was a celebration. But the lack of sleep and just being around a bunch of people gave me a cold. So bear with me as I talk through this because this really is important to me. I know a lot of my videos recently have circled around the same idea, but honestly, I think I'm trying to understand something myself. Because somewhere along the way, life stopped feeling lived in, if that makes sense. We used to spend entire days outside with nothing but our imagination. We made up worlds, we rode bikes until the sun went down. We got bored and then created something because of it. Now the second silence appears, we reach for our phone. And as you know, I don't say that from a place of judgment. I say it because I see that in myself too. I miss when connection took effort. When someone missing you actually meant something because they couldn't instantly access every detail of your life through a screen. People wrote letters, not because it was aesthetic or trendy, because it was the only way to stay close to someone. They sat down with a pen and paper and actually gathered their thoughts. They waited weeks for responses. There was patience in it, intention. And now we know what somebody had for lunch within 30 seconds of them eating it. But somehow we've never felt more disconnected from each other. And I think that's what's grieving me lately. Not the technology itself, just what we lost in exchange for convenience. Our grandparents had to remember things. They had to remember phone numbers and addresses and birthdays. They balanced their checkbooks by hand, not with a phone, not with a computer. They fixed things instead of replacing them. If their jeans ripped, they mended them. There was a kind of resourcefulness back then. And because of that, there was a natural patience and slowness that came with living that way. Now everything is instant. And if we're not careful, I really do think we can lose parts of ourselves in all of it. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, little by little. It happens before we even realize that it's happening. I think that's why so many of us feel mentally exhausted all the time, because our brains were never meant to consume this much. Our grandparents knew how to sit on the porch without needing constant stimulation. They could just exist, listen to the radio, watch the trees move, talk for hours. Can you imagine how uncomfortable that feels for most people now? Even rest has become productive. And honestly, I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling like life is flying past me while I'm staring at a screen. I want to hear God clearly again. I want margin in my life. I want my children to remember me looking at them more than they remember me looking at my phone. Because one day, if the Lord tarries, these years are going to feel nostalgic too. One day I'll probably look back on the sound of little feet running through the house the same way I now look back on VHS tapes and sleeping in my grandparents' living room. And honestly, that terrifies me a little. How many sacred, ordinary moments have I missed because my attention was somewhere else? How many times have my children tried to show me something while I was mentally somewhere else completely? How many sunsets have I looked past? How many quiet evenings have I rushed through trying to get to the next thing? And I think about how badly I miss parts of my childhood now that they're gone. And the crazy thing is, when I was living in those moments, I had no idea they would one day become the memories I would ache for. At the time, they just felt ordinary. And that's what scares me about hurry, because hurry makes ordinary moments feel disposable. But later, those are usually the moments we realize that mattered the most. Your dad walking in the room and making the same joke that he has made ever since the day you were born, and you laugh because you love him. Your mom making dinner and every single time making green beans, even though she knows nobody's going to eat them, other than her, of course. Summer nights hearing crickets and catching lightning bugs. Your children asking you to watch them do the same trick for the 15th time. That's life, not the perfectly curated things we post online. Because at the end of our lives, I don't think any of us are going to wish we had spent more time refreshing apps, keeping up with trends, or consuming more content. I think we're going to wish we would have looked up more, slowed down more, stayed longer at the dinner table, let the conversation keep going, let the dishes wait, let ourselves fully sink into the life that was happening right in front of us instead of constantly escaping it. And I think maybe a lot of us are craving that so much right now, not because we want to go back. We don't want to go back to the way things were necessarily, but because maybe our grandparents understood something we forgot. And honestly, that's exactly what we've been working on behind the scenes at Field of Boaz. Something intentional, something nostalgic, something that invites us back to a slower rhythm again. And I cannot wait to finally tell you about it. I'll be announcing it on Friday. I'll see you soon.